UFC Fight Night, Deiveson Figueiredo versus Song Yadong, full card breakdown, rapid fire edition, simply because this card is lacking a lot of name values, but still there was a lot of great fights that I want to discuss, and starting with the main event, Figueiredo versus Song Yadong. When I first saw this fight announced, I was a bit like, okay, we have a decent main event here for this card. You know, it's kind of like it's on very good time for us European fans, so I'm not going to complain about the time zone difference at all, but I was a little bit like, okay, what does the winner get here? Like, is the winner just going to get fed like one of the top dogs? Like, if Song Yadong wins, is it going to get fed Umar? What's going to really happen with the winners here? I feel like this main event is good, but I get these guys haven't fought and things like that, but it was definitely lacking some sort of like, you know, progression in the division, especially for Figueiredo, considering he's already lost to Umar, and especially Song, considering he's already lost to Corey. He's already lost. Both of these guys have lost to Corey. Both of these guys have lost to O'Malley. Maybe a Batista matchup is going to be an extra winner of this. I don't really know. But I'm going to be picking Song Yadong to retire Deiveson Figueiredo. Yes, I think this is going to be Figgy's last fight. I don't think we're going to see Figgy ever fight again after this, which is extremely sad because I've been watching Figgy for a very long time. Almost as long as I've been watching this sport have I been watching every single Deiveson Figueiredo fight. He's gave me some absolutely scraps against Brandon Moreno. Very good performance against Chito Vera. Very good performance against Rob Font. But I feel like Figueiredo, as soon as he went up to bantamweight, was kind of beating the like 5, 6, 7 guys of the division. Then he fought the Sanhagens. Then he fought the Yans. Now he's about to fight the Yadongs. He's definitely slipping up against the top echelon of the bantamweight division compared to when he was just on a little bit of a tear, beating people like Pantoja, Moreno, and things like that in the flyweight division. Obviously, I think lighter man skill is absolutely true, but I also think bantamweight is the most skillful division in the sport, to where Figueiredo's skill didn't necessarily transition up. The skill set that he already had got him to like a certain level, and then the difference between flyweight and bantamweight really showed, considering Figgy was a former flyweight champion, multiple time flyweight champion as well as that. And let's not forget, this guy had an incredible flyweight career. Like he turned around in like 3 weeks notice to fight Brandon Moreno, I think, after I think it was Joey Benavidez. Then he fought, you know, the first ever quadrilogy against Moreno, Pantoja, and things like that. So he has had a shitload of fucking good fights at flyweight. And listen, he picked up some good wins. Knocking Chito down. I think he's the first person to ever knock Chito down when he fought him. Rob Font was a good win back in the day. But it's hard to deny Song Yadong's 28 years old compared to 38 years old. And Song Yadong looked pretty decent against Sean O'Malley. One thing Song Yadong had a lot of success with in the striking against O'Malley was countering off O'Malley's kick to the body. Whenever O'Malley threw a kick to the body, Song Yadong would come up with a massive right hand. He implemented the grappling very well in that fight. I still don't think Song Yadong won that fight. I'm not going to lie to you. I think O'Malley was just doing way more damage. And Joe Rogan in the second round, I want to make this point up. Joe Rogan said in the second round, when Song Yadong took O'Malley down, picking him up and slamming him, he's done it again, man. He shot the guillotine. How is Joe Rogan allowed on that mic? I should, like, anyone in the MMA world is a better commentator than Joe Rogan sometimes, okay? But I want to get to that beef out of the way. I think Song Yadong, I always looked at Song Yadong as someone that just slipped up against good fighters. O'Malley, Yan, Sanhagen. He just never looked like he was going to be really one of the top fighters in the division, but they always gave him the benefit of the doubt that he was so young. He was getting experience off fighting these top guys. But if he was ever going to beat Yan, it was the night that he fought him on the Chito versus O'Malley 2 card, where Yan was coming off that loss to Marab. He was nearly out of the cage like a year. And he was just in the most vulnerable position of his whole career, I should say. And especially since Song took the first round off him, Yan was really shaking off the cobwebs. He was terrified of getting into grappling exchanges. That was really when it started to, you know, motion got back in flow for Yan. He was able to stuff takedowns. He was able to let his hands go that little bit more. And then when Peter Yan fought Deiveson Figueiredo, we definitely saw the Yan of old, where he had no fear of a takedown. He was just marching forward, just trying to take Figgy's fucking head off. And the thing about Deiveson Figueiredo, I'm watching a lot of tape on him, he has such little output. I'm shocked by it. I was actually like, I was looking back at his fights like, wait a minute. This isn't the Figueiredo I remember, the Savage, things like that. I actually think Figueiredo has some pretty good grappling, but you never see Figueiredo wrapping someone up in a massive choke like a Darce or just any sort of a choke. I know he's been rear nakeded by Moreno and things like that, so I don't think he's bulletproof on the ground. But we've seen Figueiredo mixing the grappling a lot. But the striking output at the bantamweight was just not there. Yes, it was there against Cheeto and things like that, but the Yan fight, he threw nothing. He was a punching bag in that fight. And I don't think Song Yadong has the striking nor the output of a Piotr Yan in any way. But I think he's a lot fresher on the feet. I think he has a lot more confidence on the feet. Even in the O'Malley fight, he was able to land on O'Malley. Sandhagen, it was a back and forth brawl. Ricky Simon and things like that. You know, let's not even forget the Henry Cejudo fight. He was piecing him up. Chris Gutierrez as well. Song Yadong actually has some fucking serious wins. And listen, the whole Cejudo, you know, headbutt and things like that, we don't really know how the fight was going to go, but we have an indication. Song Yadong was beating the fuck out of Henry Cejudo. And I thought Cejudo was going to win that fight, if I'm being real with you. I can't remember. That seems like a fight I would pick Cejudo in, though. I won't even lie. But I don't think Song Yadong is lacking experience now. Being in there with Yan, you know, Chris Gutierrez, Sean O'Malley, Corey Sandhagen, Henry Cejudo, he seems to be losing to the top edge of the division that's there now compared to beating the Chris Gutierrez, Ricky Simons, Henry Cejudos of now, and things like that. I think he's struggling with the top echelons of this division, and I think he wouldn't beat Umar. I don't think he would. Absolutely no chances he beat Umar the more I think about it. But I think he's going to be Figueiredo. I think he's got way too good a hands to be Figueiredo. He's going to implement the grappling well. And I see a 50-45 for Song Yadong in this fight. I don't really see a way Figueiredo is going to win this one because he doesn't have the output, nor does he have the submission threat to really give Song Yadong problems when he's on the ground. But I think it's going to be a decent fight. I think it could be just send-off fight for Figueiredo, unless he wants to chance his arm at 145. But I don't think him versus fucking Arnold Allen is going to go too well at all. At fucking all, or Gene Silva or someone like that. I don't think he's going to do well. So if this is Figueiredo's last fight, we can appreciate it. We can understand how good he was because he was a scary motherfucker his whole career. But I'm going to go with Song Yadong 50-45. I think it's a safe bet. I think Song Yadong's way better. He's going to get that one though. Zhang Ming Yang versus Alonzo Mainfield. I forget how young Zhang Ming Yang is. He let me down against Johnny Walker, bro. He let me fucking down. As someone who I thought had some serious KO power and had some serious potential, he let me down. Beating Brenton Monero, beating Anthony Smith, beating guys like that, they're stationary wins. They're wins that you should be getting in the UFC. Okay, in the UFC, this side actually, I'm my bad. But then you're slipping up against Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker is a step in the right direction. Absolutely. Is he the top echelon of the light heavyweight division? No. But he should be a guy you are beating. Like 1,000,000% should be a guy you're smacking the fuck out of, if we're being completely honest with you here. Alonzo Mainfield, this should be a routine win as well. I don't think Alonzo Mainfield is that good. I was actually in Qatar when he lost to Ozdemir as well. That was a pretty sick KO. But Alonzo Mainfield just seems to get like in bad spots in every single fight. Like every fight I watch of Alonzo Mainfield, he's getting in a bad spot, getting hurt. Murzakanov and Carlos Solberg have finished them both. Carlos Solberg was like the first 20 seconds or something like that, and then the Murzakanov one was in a couple, like inside the first 2 rounds. You know, Alonzo Mainfield is absolutely there to be hit, and you know, Zhang Ming Yang, I feel like he would have learned from the Johnny Walker fight a lot, but I also think he's fighting a much more, as much as I don't think Johnny Walker has a good chin at all. I think he's very hittable. I think he's not going to be champion ever. He's not this big bad wolf that was going to beat John Jones once upon a time. No, not at all. But I do think he has a better chin than Alonzo Mainfield. I don't think that's saying much. I don't think that's bragging. I don't think that's saying he's an incredible chin at fucking all. But it is to be known. I think Zhang might catch him with like a big right hand. Maybe Alonzo gets rocked and he finishes him up against the cage, or maybe he hides like a body kick with a high kick upstairs, or maybe a jab 1-2 down the pipe, hurts Alonzo, and then he just covers up against the cage, the ref steps in or something like that. I can kind of see something like that. I think Mainfield's getting knocked out. I think he's getting knocked out in the first round. I think this is going to be a good win for Zhang Ming Yang, and I think he's going to get this one done. I just don't trust Mainfield at all. I think he's going to win. Sergey Pavlovich versus Deiveson Figueiredo. You know, Pavlovich is a great fighter. He's scaly. I want to make it clear, just because you lose to Volkov and Aspinall doesn't mean you are a bad heavyweight. I want to make that very fucking clear. Beating Waldo Cortez Acosta and beating Curtis Blades alone makes you a top heavyweight. Considering you've seen what Blades has done in the division the last couple of years, Pavlovich is still one of the best heavyweights on the planet. And you could argue he's probably the 4th best heavyweight in the division at the moment, behind Tom Gan and Volkov. I feel like Pavlovich is still right there. And Deiveson Figueiredo is 26. That is crazy to me. What the fuck does Deiveson Figueiredo do well? apart from getting knocked out by Terclus. There's nothing I see in this fight that Deiveson Figueiredo is going to go in there and give Sergey Pavlovich issues with. Pavlovich is so much sounder on the feet, especially in his hands, to where I don't think he's going to have a problem picking apart Deiveson Figueiredo. I don't know if he's going to finish him in a true rounder. I would not be surprised. But if I was going to bet on this fight, I go with Sergey Pavlovich 30-27, where the commentators glaze how good Pavlovich is and he's learned so much from the Volkov and the Aspinall losses. You really see him improving, man. I think he's going to absolutely dismantle Deiveson Figueiredo with a jab and a right hand, a few body shots here and there. Deiveson Figueiredo won't be able to get close because Pavlovich's combination is just so much more vicious inside the pocket. You know, we've seen that with the Curtis Blades fight, what happens when you stand in front of Pavlovich. And I feel like Deiveson Figueiredo doesn't do anything in the world spectacular. He doesn't do anything terribly bad. Like, I'm not saying he's terrible defense or anything like that, but I feel like you need to be a crafty vet like Volkov to keep the range and pop the jab and use your kicks to beat a Sergey Pavlovich, or a Tom Aspinall. You go in there and just flatten him with a first fucking punch of the fight. I feel like that's what you need to beat someone like Sergey Pavlovich, and that's why I think Pavlovich is still as dangerous as ever. I thought Waldo Cortez Acosta was going to be the heavyweight of the featured of the fucking heavyweight division. Sorry, Pavlovich went in there and just shut him down, and I feel like that's an incredible win. And look who just did that, Volkov. You know what I mean? Volkov just did that to Cortez Acosta, and Cortez Acosta, you know, he beat like Shamil Gaziev and things like that, but he was still on a good run leading towards that Volkov fight, and he would have got a title shot if he had won, which is an incredible stat. And I think Pavlovich is still there. Do I think Pavlovich is ever going to get back to where he was, the kind of fear mongering he had? He was just fear. What the fuck did I call it? Fear. Because we like mogging, like fear mogging people. He was just like fear. I think it's mogging, fear mogging people and things like that. I think he's going to get this one done. But having a look at the rest of the card, Kaya Sakura versus Cameron Smotherman. Great fight. Banger fight. Gonna go with Kaya Sakura on this one. I can't believe Kaya Sakura is 32 years old. That's crazy. I thought he was way younger. But watching Cameron Smotherman, since he was on the Contender Series, I think he's slick on the feet. I think he's got very good kicks. But I also think Kaya Sakura is incredibly dangerous when you give him the chance to be. And I think for a bantamweight, he was a flyweight and things like that. Losing to Tim Elliott, losing to Pantoja the way he did, I'm not going to hold a massive grudge against him. I think Cameron Smotherman's a lot less skilled than those guys on the ground in particular. I think those guys are very good. Even if you look at Tim Elliott, like, he was ragged on in Royval in his debut. And I know Tim Elliott just lost and things like that, but still, he was ragged on in Royval on the ground. We know how good Brandon Royval is on the ground. Like, he's no slouch on the ground at all. That says something. I know he got, finished in the end, but still, he was doing well. Kaya Sakura is not going to have that massive issue here against Cameron Smotherman. I do think Cameron Smotherman is going to shoot takedowns. I don't think he's going to have any success. I think Kaya Sakura has always been dangerous with knee up the middle and things like that. I think he's got very good low kicks to give Cameron Smotherman an issue here. And I feel like he's going to get this one done. I think Smotherman's limited. I think he's very... I wouldn't say he's durable. He got completely weight drained on that scale the last day and looked like a fucking raisin collapsing on a scale. That shows you how bad these guys' weight cuts are. And as someone is, sharp and is quick and is, I wouldn't say dangerous, but has a level of threat that Kaya Sakura does have, I feel like Cameron Smotherman's quite vulnerable to people like that. And I feel like he's going to be vulnerable to the low kicks, vulnerable to the jab, vulnerable to knee up the middle. And I feel like a Kaya Sakura 30-27, where he's kind of just one step ahead of Cameron Smotherman, is going to be in play here. I'm going to go with Kaya Sakura 30-27 on that one. Alex Perez is going to get absolutely ran through. I miss Jake Matthews. How could I miss Jake Matthews? Going to go with Jake Matthews on this one. He's way younger, definitely got more dominant grappling. He's probably going to get a second round submission, in my opinion, or maybe just a 30-27, hold him on the ground. Carlson Harris just never really did anything in his career. I think Jake Matthews has always kind of been one of the guys that's like seen as a prospect, but never kicked on. The more you look at it, the more this card is actually pretty decent. So we'll do the rapid fire for the rest of the card. Alex Perez is going to get submitted in the first round, or Chin. He's going to get finished in the first round. And let me move my camera here so we can have a look at the prelims. I'm not going to shit you. A lot of these fighters don't know either of these guys' names. Or not names, but I've never seen them fight because they're brand new to the UFC. I don't think Luis Felipe Diaz is going to be the guy 8-1, probably Asian descent, probably Chinese, going to be winning that fight. I'm going to go with Mending on this one. God forbid these guys' parents. Cody Haddon, though. I feel like Cody Haddon's going to pull off an upset here. Call me crazy. I'm going to go with Cody Haddon via second round TKO. I just think that's a Cody Haddon fight to win, and I think he's going to get this one done. Rhea Tusaria versus Luis Gurulu. I'm going to go with Rhea on this one. I'm going to go with Rhea via decision. Just kind of hold him down. Don't really think Luis Gurulu is very good at all. I think he's going to get smashed up in this one. Angela Hill. Angela Hill is getting absolutely destroyed. It's going to be a decision, though, because women's strawweight never really see finishes in. So I'm going to go with Angela Hill losing via decision. Rodrigo Vera is probably going to win this fight. Zhu Kangji. These names, bro. Just isn't really cutting the mark, in my opinion. Vulnerable striking, low hands. Not great grappling. Loma Lukambi versus Jacqueline Amorian. Gonna go with Jacqueline on this one. I think she's a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more sound, but then again, it's women's strawweight. No one's really dangerous. Gonna be a decision. I'm gonna go with Jacqueline on that one. But all in all, I actually think this is a pretty decent card. Don't really see too many complaints from me about it, apart from the fact that it's just missing some valuable fights in divisions. Song versus Figueiredo is a good scrap, but I also struggle to see where this takes someone in the division. Is it going to be Mario Batista if he gets to Corey Sandhagen? Maybe Sandhagen Song Yadong rematch, but if it's Figueiredo, you don't really do the Corey rematch, especially since he was kind of winning the fight. I know it was an injury and things like that, but still, let me know down below what you guys think of this card. It's pretty decent. We'll give it that, but like, subscribe, and all that good shit.